many years, we've travelled the world making wildlife programmes for the BBC.
What an amazing animal. My name's Chris Packham.
I'm Liz Bonnen.
And that's the lion-tail macaque.
I'm Steve Backshall.
Oh, not the ear.
And I'm Gordon Buchanan.
Oh, look at that.
We may have spent a lot of time on home turf lately, but it's given us the chance to reflect on just how amazing some of those wild adventures were. Memories with you.
Go.
The close encounters. Grueling expeditions.
Oh, I don't believe it.
The amazing discoveries.
Thank you.
And career-defining moments.
I just asked the wild bear for a kiss.
We'll also hear from those behind the cameras, just what it takes to capture the natural world in all its wonder. Join us as we look back on our adventures through the most precious of habitats, rainforests.
In the mid-1980s, I staggered sweating out of a piece of Venezuelan rainforest where I'd spent the previous few hours looking for birds and seeing very few. But very fortunately, I bumped into an old American lady who gave me some top advice. She said, "Young man, when you're birding in rainforests, never leave the car park." Why is that? Well, because when you're inside, it's pitch black, it's dense, it's sticky, it's green. You can hear things. You can hear all the frogs chirping, the insects calling, the birds tweeting, but you simply can't see them. Whereas if you're on the edge, like this, for instance, in this avenue, you can see those birds flying from one side to another. And if you're really lucky, they might just perch where you can catch a glimpse and identify them. When you're birding in rainforest, never leave the car park or the road. Or
Each other. Well, that's totally nuts.
how about this for a tasty, healthy snack whilst you're walking in the woods? A Brazil nut. When we were kids, these were very much a Christmas speciality. We didn't have them throughout the rest of the year. They appeared in a sock that was tied to the bottom of your bed, along with walnuts and mandarins. What I didn't realise as a child is that this tree has an extraordinary life.
And what happens next is the bit that I'm really interested in. Because there are so many...
When we saw this extraordinary interrelationship between these species, it made me appreciate these a whole lot more. Yeah. The next time I nibbled a Brazil nut, I thought very hard about where it had come from. It was a remarkable story.
The rainforests are one of the most vital environments that I've ever been in. The sound, the orchestra of wildlife that you get is stupendous. Tree frogs, birds and cicadas, all in concert creating a deafening cacophony of sounds. And it's somewhere that's not always comfortable, but is always thrilling. This is where I keep some of my expedition equipment. I've got boxes and bags of climbing and paddling equipment. And in my helmet box is this, which is kind of a special helmet, because this is the one that I wore on the hardest climb I've ever done. And my favorite expedition. This was from a climb in Venezuela of a tepui called Upigma.
Where Guyana meets Venezuela and Brazil, there's a remarkable range of mountains called the Guiana Shield.
A tepui is a sandstone massif composed of particularly ancient rock.
And that's our mountain. Look at that!
Joining me were two of the best rock climbers in the world, John Aaron and Ivan Calderon. Tim Fogg was our rope safety expert.
That was a hairy landing.
Hola. Buenos dias. Hola. This is one of the most beautiful villages I've ever seen. On a first descent like this, you can do a certain amount of planning from a distance using binoculars. When you get to the rock face, everything changes and you are making it up as you go. We really don't know where we're going. Up, I think is the watchword. The sandstone sides are like the walls of a fortress. They are completely sheer or overhanging the whole way. What do you think? What do you think about the first
I think
run?
it's gonna be very loose and it's gonna be a very technical pitch.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
And as a climb that had never been done, we were picking our way up the rock face, move by move, never knowing if it was going to be possible.
Big block going down.
Jesus! You all right, Ivan?
Cannot talk right now.
But certain that if we reached the summit, we would be the first human beings ever to set foot there. And likely, any animal we found there was going to be a species new to science.
Oh, heads, heads, heads.
Every single thing that you hold on to could ping away at any second. And the consequences of that would just be, well, they'd be death. There's no two ways about it. I don't want to sound over dramatic, but
Yeah, be careful with that. Yeah, here we go. Little bit left. Yeah, right on. Right on. Yeah, very nice, man. Good job.
that was hard.
This climb was going to take days, so at night we had no choice but to camp out on the sheer rock face.
It's coming in at an absolute rate of knots. We've got black sky and a curtain of rain approaching us. And we've got to get our sleeping arrangement up very quickly, otherwise we're going to get drenched.
We have two portalages. Each one is big enough for two people. But since there are five of us, Ivan has rigged himself a hammock.
So a portaledge is kind of like a big tea tray. It's a piece of canvas suspended in between these poles, and you hang it off the vertical rock face. Weirdly though, it's actually a kind of cool way to sleep. You know, the whole portaledge rocks gently with the breeze, so you're sort of like a baby in a bassinet being lullabied off to sleep. And then we continued to pick our way up what appeared to be absolutely impenetrable rock.
God, that is the move.
Move by move, minute by minute, day by day.
Got no foothold.
You all right, Steve?
I just came off. Sorry, John.
Can you get on again?
That wasn't the first or last time I came off the rock face.
We spent the best part of 5 days teetering on teeny ledges, always at serious risk of injury or death.
I'm actually not sure I'm going to tackle that.
Oh, God!
The next of it's a nasty bit.
Oh, dear, that's all going to come off.
Go on. Excellent.
Hey!
Nice one, Steve.
Ah! Yes! Yeehaw! Oh, fantastic!
To finally pull ourselves up onto the summit and know for a fact that no human being had ever stepped there before was an incredible experience.
Look at this! We popped out into a moss, bromeliad, fern forest. This really is the lost world.
Every day has hardship, has sweat and chafing and mosquito bites and all the things that can make it pretty miserable. And every bit melts away with a new sunrise on a day where you could discover something special.
They run in tracks. You can see there's almost like roads. These here are bird prints, but these are definitely mammal prints. And if we find them, they're almost certain to be a new species. And the surprises kept on coming.
Well done, who found it?
Yeah, it was just lucky. Just be careful, he's very jumpy.
Oh, look at that underside. Beautiful colours.
Woo! good catch.
I think what's particularly special about this frog is I've not seen it in any of the guides or any of the textbooks for the frogs of this area. I tell you what's particularly beautiful, actually, if you look at the underside, the belly, and the undersides of the pads. Look at those colours.
Wow.
That's really quite dramatic, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's very difficult to name a new species without taking it back to a museum and running all sorts of tests on it. And to do that, we'd have to kill it, which I'm not prepared to do. So I'm going to put it back where it belongs in this bromeliad here.
Have you put the cheese in already, or is that going on?
No, the cheese is gonna be...
But it wasn't until our very last night that we struck the jackpot.
Look at these moths. Look at the size of this. Whoa. Got some enormous moths all the way down this wall here, look. Look at the size of that. These ones here are hawk moths of the Sphingidae. Look at the size of that one there. For scale, that's the size of my hand. And they're all exactly the same species, with this distinctive eye spot here, and that wonderful coloration here in the hind wing. Whoa! Something really quite extraordinary has happened here. My light trap has actually conned these swifts, and they've actually flown into the wall. This one here, he's stunned but alert, and I think he might head off. Come on, fella, please be all right. Oh, thank goodness for that. No. Come back, where are you? Oh, God, no! Oh, no, he's in there. He's in there. Oh, he's beautiful. It's all right, I'm not gonna hurt you. Look at the size of the ears and the spread of the whiskers. This is definitely a creature that's accustomed to hunting at night. And it's ever so pretty. There have been very, very few species of mammals recorded on the top of tapuis, and new mammals are found so rarely these days. But that is an extraordinary find. Makes the whole trip worthwhile. I have made other first ascents of mountains before, and it's always beautiful and always exciting. All of a sudden, I just felt like I was transported into the times of Wallace and Humboldt and Bates and Darwin, when every single thing that they found was new, was a new species, was something that could teach them, tell them something new about the natural world. It was incredibly exciting.
Rainforests are the most exciting habitat on Earth. They are where we are pretty sure 3/4 of the species on Earth live. I've always been attracted to these forests. Wow. If you were to conserve just one habitat on Earth, that would be the one. And that's what draws me back to it time and time again. I know what some people will be thinking, that George McGavin probably keeps something weird in his fridge. Well, you're right. I keep a collection of spiders and alcohol in the fridge, and the reason I keep them in there is because it makes them last longer. The alcohol won't evaporate. And a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to go to the rainforests of Guyana to look for the world's biggest tarantula, an animal so large it wouldn't even fit in that box. I've studied arthropods my whole life, all over the world, but I'd never seen anything as magnificent or as huge as the Goliath bird-eating spider. To find it, I had to venture out into the Guyanese rainforest at night. Now, just got to move very slowly. Keep an eye out for spiders. Well, the hunt for the world's biggest spider was a classic evening shoot. We had to find one, and they're there, but they're hard to find. So we had lots of people out hunting on the forest floor for these big holes in the ground.
You're coming this way?
Yeah, Bruds, I can see your light. Have you found a new hole? Over. And eventually, I think it was about 3 in the morning, we had a call. You can see it at the hole. It's there. He's right there. Okay, I'm on my way. Wait there. Oh, wow. There it is. Oh, my goodness. Pterophosa blondie, the Goliath bird-eating spider. Oh, wow. Great. Trouble with this is, the first fright that she gets, and she'll dive into that hole again, and we won't ever be able to get her out. That's okay. No, it's fine. I'm going to try a little stick to sort of tease her forward. Now, is there any way you could go around the back and block the hole? Okay. I get a long piece of grass, and I stick the blade of grass down a tarantula hole. And the idea is to annoy the tarantula just enough so that it grabs the end of the grass, and then you can just pull it out. Got it. That's it. Now, these guys don't normally bite as a first defense. They normally flick hairs. These little hairs are like little tiny harpoons, and they irritate you, they make you cough. Don't let me cough, because if I cough, she'll get a fright. I'm desperately trying not to cough at the moment. Okay, it's gone. Thank God for that. These guys have inch-long fangs, and you really don't want that in your finger. Oh dear. Do not cough. But you see how incredibly beautiful she is. She moves serenely. Well, like... Oh, she jumped. There we are. I'm going to try and get her back in the box, only because I want to see how heavy she is, after which we will bring her back to her hole here. I got to get back. It's flicked the hairs, and they were in the clouds, and it's gone on my face, gone up my arm, inside my arms. It's gone up this arm. I've actually inhaled some of them, so I'm coughing, which of course shows what an effective way of putting off enemies it is. You know, you don't need inch-long fangs if you can make somebody twitch and itch all over. Ah!
The next morning, when I'd finally stopped itching, I had a chance to examine her in more detail.
Oh, come on, baby. I want to weigh you, that's all. She feels about the weight of a small, spiny rat. Now, that's 85 grams. That's a good size. This is an amazing place. All the animals here are just huge. I mean, it is a land of giants. So you've got giant plants, giant otters, giant spiders, giant this, giant that. You know, and this being the world's biggest spider species, for me, is an enormous thrill, an absolutely enormous thrill.
And I was in my element.
What a... I do like a bit of risk.
The Amazon rainforest never ceases to amaze and surprise me. It is the lungs of our planet. It's also the beating heart. Each tree in the Amazon draws up to 1,000 liters of water every single day and releases it in the form of mist, what the indigenous people call floating rivers. And so the Amazon literally breathes life into the entire planet. I grew up in the mountains in the south of France, and we were very lucky because we had a little wood behind our house. And my sister and I used to spend pretty much all our time outdoors in that forest with our 2 dogs. And we were surrounded by hedgehogs and snakes and spiders and birds. And I was obsessed with birds, particularly the little finches. I used to stare at them for hours and wonder how on earth something so small and perfect could work. I'd try and imagine how small their hearts were and how fast they had to beat and how their little eyeballs were moving in their sockets. And I think nature worked its magic on me out there without my even knowing it, which I'm sure played a role in what I ended up doing for a job.
It also instilled in me a love of woodlands and forests, and so visiting the Amazon rainforest in Brazil was a dream come true. But what I experienced there was both inspiring and heartbreaking in equal measure. Activities like intensive farming, commercial logging, and road building mean that the forest and some 3 million species that live there, much of the Amazon is unowned land, And although it's often illegal, it's common for people to slash and burn a patch. They mostly prey on sloths and monkeys. But as the rainforest is being cleared, their future hangs in the balance.
When you see the scale of deforestation with your own eyes, and when you witness the precious species, the biodiversity that it plays host to, you realize that it's a much bigger problem than just conserving a harpy eagle or a patch of Amazon.
But it was heartening to see, and its majestic rainforest home, a fighting chance.
The rainforests of Guyana are, it's hard to put into words, what it's like to be there. There's a kind of sensory overload. Everything that you see is extraordinary. Everything you can smell is exquisite. And everything you hear is bizarre. It's overwhelming. On a lot of these rainforest expeditions, we take sort of cases and cases of what we think is essential equipment. But if you are alone in the rainforest, any jungly environment, you're going to need one of these. I don't know if you should trust a man with a machete collection, but this is mine. When I was a kid, I remember I must have watched some film about machete-wielding explorers. I thought, that's amazing. And if only kind of the reality of having to use a machete in the rainforest was as glamorous as that, because you're only kind of generally using it because you need to get through some really, really tangly stuff. I like this one. It's kind of nice and lightweight. This is the kind of heavy-duty version. And I got this one in Borneo. It's more of a kind of an axe than a machete, and it's just really weighty. It's kind of very comfortable in the hand. You can see I'm getting into this. But it is such an important piece of equipment to have with you. And this particular machete was well used when we went to Guyana. And without it, I wouldn't have been able to travel to some of the places, some of these sort of dense forest creeks that I went to when I was looking for giant otters.
And it seemed my lucky streak was continuing.
Right back.
I'd had an incredible encounter with giant otters. But the surprises weren't over yet. I still had to check my camera trap.
It's hard to say whether anything's been up here because of the rain. Right. The tape has reached the end. So we have 1 hour of stuff. Okay, we've reached the beginning of the tape. Play. Oh, curacao. I actually saw curacao the other day quite close to here, 3 of them. So I wonder if it's the same ones. 2. He's camera shy, this one. That's very nice. Oh, hang on, what the... At the top of the log, there was something sort of spotty, like a cat. I mean, it might have been an ocelot. It's a jaguar. I cannot believe that. One of the most difficult animals in South America to see was right here. Literally, it walked along this path. That is unreal. I do not believe that. And this is just by sheer luck. We put this out for otters, and we've got a jaguar. That is incredible.
I think that's the wonderful thing about, watching wildlife and filming wildlife, and you might have a rough idea of what you might capture on a camera trap, but you can never say for sure. And that is why it's so exciting when something that you're really not expecting just shows up.
Especially when it's something as rare and elusive as a jaguar just going about its business in one of the most exciting habitats on the planet. It doesn't get better than that. Next time, we'll be taking a trip across the Wild West.
Most extraordinary set of events unfolding.
What about that?
Sharing our encounters with North American heavyweights
That was perfect.
and gentle giants.
Stop it. Stop it.
Hoping to meet the neighbours, Brian Cox explores if life exists elsewhere. Adventures in space and time next. And if you're switching over to Planet BBC One, brand new drama from Jimmy McGovern, Time, is starting now.